Hi, me and Macaroni have an exciting new project to announce to you guys. Isn't that right, Macaroni? Don't we have something to tell the people? We do. We got something to tell the people. We got some big news. People need to know about this big news. Excuse me, sir. Can I get your thoughts on this new project that we are just about to announce to the people? Can you please look at the camera? That face says it all. Macaroni's reaction aside, I do have some big news to announce. Over the last few months, I've been secretly working on 2 new projects. They're still ongoing. It will be ongoing for some time, but I wanted to build them up a bit before I officially revealed them. And I feel like now is a pretty good time for me to finally show everybody what I've been working on. So first, I got to give some background on the reasoning for these projects. So initially when I started making content, I started here on YouTube. This is back in October of 2021. I made the Plot Point series, which covers the entire storyline of Kingdom Hearts, just taking like the most important cutscenes and splicing them together into like a long, like 14-hour, 6-part series. But I took to TikTok to promote my account and just to get some eyeballs to, come over to YouTube to watch my stuff. Initially, I just made edits. That's all I posted on TikTok until I came across this video.
What's a video that lives in your head rent-free?
And I I stitched the clip of Aqua telling Ventus Vanitas to shut up in Birth by Sleep.
What's a video that lives in your head rent-free?
And just like the legend says, the Keyblade War will begin!
Shut up!
And that exploded. Like, so many people came out of the woodwork for that for that video. People were like literally eating it up. Somebody in the comments was like, you should make this its own audio, because it was using the audio from the original video. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll make it its own audio so people can use it for like their own TikToks. And that blew up even more than the first video. So then people took to the comments and they were like, oh, you should post this scene and you should post that scene. We need to see Yearbook Vanitas and all that stuff. I, for like 8 hours a day, every 2 hours would post a new TikTok, and it was just a scene from Kingdom Hearts. I would post it in like vertical format and I would upload it, I think from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that's not 8 hours, that's like 12 hours. It literally was like my full-time job. Every 2 hours, a new clip would get posted onto TikTok. And I think I've posted over 1,000 clips on there from like every game. But going from all that, so the shut up clip is what started. It kicked all this off, right? After I posted all those scenes on TikTok, I went back to YouTube because initially I wanted to grow YouTube. TikTok was never my goal. It was always just like a secondary thing, and then it became my main thing, and I was like, okay, now I need to go back to YouTube. So one of the videos I posted on YouTube was a compilation of all the times all the characters said shut up, and that is currently sitting at my #1 most viewed video on this account. So at this point I'm like, okay, so the shut up thing, I have to like build on this. Like, this is not necessarily my brand, but it is like such a big thing that I've discovered that people love. And I'm just like, okay, what is the next step in the shut up? I don't even know what to say. How would I describe this? Anthology? Is anthology the right word here? I guess anthology works. In the shut up anthology. Anyways, so from there, about a month after I posted the shut up compilation on YouTube, I went to a con with a friend of mine to Motor City Comic Con in Novi, Michigan, and actually got to meet Charles Martinet while I was there. And this was actually before he announced his retirement from the voice of Mario. Also in attendance was Christopher Lloyd, who, if you don't know, Christopher Lloyd is the new voice of Xehanort after the previous voice actor has passed away. And I turned to my friend and I was like, oh, you know, it'd be so funny if I went into Christopher Lloyd's line with like something Kingdom Hearts and I had him sign it, because it's like most people are in line for like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Back to the Future, but I'm gonna walk up to him and be like, "Do you remember that time that you were Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts 3, but not even like the main game, but the DLC and then the melody, the rhythm game that came out afterwards?" But like, no joke, that thought alone sparked this project, the one that I'm making this video on. I remember seeing this post where somebody had a copy, I think of it was Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2, and they went to different conventions and they had people sign, like the voice actors sign the cover of the game. But then I remembered that there was a book called The Character Files. And the Character Files, for anyone who isn't aware, has pages dedicated to all the characters in the game, even like the Disney characters. And it has like little descriptions written for them, letting you know like, oh, they're from this game, and giving you kind of a synopsis on the characters and whatnot. And I was like, what if I bought the book and I would go to the voice actors and even the ones like Christopher Lloyd, and just, could you imagine just like showing up with this and being like, hi, can you sign this book for this role that you did like 5 years ago that you probably don't even remember the title of the character or the game? And so I was like, that would be a pretty fun project to work on. But the reason I mentioned this, along with the backstory of the Shut Up stuff, is because I had thought of the next step in the Shut Up anthology, where I was going to ask the voice actors, after I had their autograph, I was going to ask them, hey, could I get you to say shut up as such and such character, and get like a video or an audio recording of it, just to add it to the list of all the characters that have said shut up within the series, because there's only a handful of them within the games themselves, but there are a good amount that have not said shut up. I wanted to incorporate like one of the big factors that got me to where I am now within this project, and also to use those audio clips in future edits, and also to have something for other people to view and enjoy. If their favorite characters never said shut up before, well then there you go. You have a video recording of your favorite character saying shut up. And it also for other people just to use the audios for their own content. If they want to have like some project that they're working on and they're like, man, I wish I had this character to say shut up, but like I don't want to use AI. Well, there's another angle to this whole thing where I'm like, you know what, this is going to benefit in more ways than one. So I was like, you know what, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be such a fun request to even ask the voice actors. And by the way, a lot of them have really enjoyed fulfilling the request. I will go into more details on like some of my interactions with some of the voice actors, because I have met a few at this point. So initially I wanted to start this project actually right as soon as I had the idea at Motor City Comic Con, but I was dealing with a bit of financial issues, so I couldn't do a lot of traveling around to go to like different conventions in different states. I kind of limited it to just any conventions if they were in my state, which was Michigan. Now, Michigan doesn't have the biggest con scene. So for Motor City Comic Con, the next con that was going to happen was Youmacon. And that was November of 2023. And that's where I met the first voice actor. And it was none other than Richard Epcar, which it's like, if there's going to be a first voice actor, to have Ansem as the first person to start this project off, honestly, couldn't have asked for a better person. So after a few months from Motor City Comic Con, Youmacon finally came around. I bought my badge, got in line, and met the one and only Richard Epcar. And not only did I get him to sign one autograph, I actually got him to sign 2 autographs. So I got him to sign Terra Xehanort, and of course I had to get him to sign Ansem. There was no way I couldn't get him to not sign Ansem. But yeah, no, he was super chill. He had no qualms about doing the shut up video, which by the way, here is the video.
Darkness is the heart. Shut up! Shut up!
I smell you, Ansem. Show yourself.
Darkness is the heart. Shut up!
Darkness is the heart's true essence.
You're stupid.
Shut up!
But yeah, overall, very nice guy, super friendly. Would recommend 100% if you ever get the opportunity to meet Richard Epcar, you've got to do it. He's such a great person to talk to. So to sidetrack a little bit, there was a store that had just opened up around the time of Motor City Comic Con called First Form. They had been getting voice actors to show up. Like, I think every 1 or 2 months, there's a new voice actor or a group of voice actors that they would get to show up at this mall where where First Form is located. I actually, during Youmacon, went to one of these signings because a friend of mine wanted to meet David Vincent, and they had bought like the VIP pass, which allowed you to take it like another person with you. I had no interest initially because there was nothing that he had done that I was overtly like invested in and where I would want to get like his autograph or whatnot. I did see that he did the voice of Duval from One Piece, but I only watched One Piece subbed, not dubbed, so I never got to experience his voice. But the moment my friend pointed out the print that he had for Duval on his table, I could not pass it up. I literally got back in the line, paid for an autograph, and I had to have him sign it. And I just gushed about how amazing the print was and how stoked I was that he came up with it and all this stuff. And he seemed pretty jazzed about somebody coming up to him to talk about a role that he isn't super like well known for. Like, it was one of those things that he did years ago and didn't really think much about it, but you know, that is part of his reel, so he like includes the character amongst all the other prints of all the other characters that he does. That in a way kind of goes hand in hand with this whole story because it shows how much like these voice actors really get surprised, and I would say appreciate yet being hyped up over such a small role that they did, where it's like they have this role that everyone knows them for. 80% of the line is in here for this role, but then they're like, yeah, I did do that. And it's like very cool that you know me from that role and only care about for that one role. Not to belittle anything the other people who only know people from their major roles, but it shows that they really enjoy having the limelight shined on some of their smaller roles. So I was like, okay, that gives me a lot of like encouragement moving forward that this is something that the voice actors are probably going to equally enjoy as much as I equally enjoy. Because I'm like, if I go up to somebody who did a role in like the first Kingdom Hearts 1 game and nobody's like talked to them about that in years, and here I come with my book and I'm like, do you remember that time in 2001 when you you played this character? So fast forward a few months from there, First Form had their first Kingdom Hearts voice actor, which technically not Kingdom Hearts, but is in Kingdom Hearts, and that was Chris Edgerly, who was the previous voice of Sid Highwind from Final Fantasy VII. So honestly, it was kind of perfect timing now that I really think about how nice the concept of First Form existing the same time period that I wanted to do this project. So while Michigan doesn't have like the biggest con scene, it is nice to know that there is like a constant rotating door for a lot of these voice actors to actually show up here in Michigan. So the day came, I bought my entry to the sign up and I got Chris to sign the book. And I also got a video.
Hey, this here's Chris Edgerly, voice of Sid Highwind. Shut up, Merlin!
Finished?
Would be, if it weren't for the old loon's magic.
Old loon, you say?
Shut up, Merlin!
So for context with some of these requests, I usually just let the voice actor take full creative control of how they want to go about saying it. I kind of had a general idea with Richard Epcar about some of the scenes that I wanted to use his shut up in, but I didn't really have anything like a line or a specific like phrase for him to say. With Chris Edgerly, I did have the scene where Sid is yelling and arguing with Merlin. And I was like, okay, well, it would be pretty funny if I got Sid to just say, shut up, Merlin. So that request specifically, I had a little bit more input when it came to the request of how to say shut up and what to say with it. But generally, most people, I tend to just be like, you go about it however you want to go about it. And a lot of them, honestly, I feel like is the best way to approach it, because they tend to just, it allows them to really get into the character and just like do the performance that they want to do, which is great. It's fantastic. Highly recommended if you're ever looking to get like some sort of voice work done, just like something small with a voice actor. Just like give them a general direction, but also let them have creative control and have them go about it how they want to go about it. So shortly after the Chris Edgerly signing, my finances were starting to look good, and I was going to hit the road and start traveling to other states to do more cons so I can get a wider range of voice actors to sign the book and also to get videos for. So I live in Michigan, and the other two states that I was targeting at this point was going to be Ohio and Indiana, because I am not the biggest road trip person. I can do maybe like a 4-hour trip at most one way, and then obviously would have to do 4 hours back the other way. Very limited on like my total scope. If it were up to me, I would rather fly to these conventions, but flying is really expensive, and unless a ticket is like super dirt cheap, I would probably rather just call it a day and drive down there, hit up early morning, do my thing, come back later in the afternoon, evening. So I had also extended it just a smidgen to Illinois and Pennsylvania, but I was never going to do more than like Chicago or Pittsburgh. That was like my extent. If it's 4 hours to get there, I'll do it. Anything over 4 hours, I'm not driving, because that's just too much driving. So coincidentally enough, the week that I started to do all this like research into conventions, I found out that there was actually 2 conventions happening at the same time. One in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, and there was another convention happening in Cleveland. So going off what I said previously, so from where I live in Michigan to Monroeville is about a 4-hour drive, and there was only going to be one voice actor who was going to be there, which was Hayden Panettiere, which again, another big name that I could not possibly pass up. The original voice actor of Kyrie, like I had to make that work. I had to make that work. But again, 4-hour drive, pretty big, not a big road person, but I was like, oh, I got to do it. And then I looked and saw the Cleveland show, but then I saw that the Cleveland convention was happening that same weekend. So I was like, okay, we're going to go from Michigan to Monroeville. And then from Monroeville, we're going to drive to Cleveland. And then from Cleveland, we're going to drive back home. And I was like, am I about to do 2 cons in one weekend? And I was like, yeah. Because for the drive, I was like, well, you could break it up, because you do the long 4 hours initially, go and get Hayden Panettiere's autograph, drive 2 hours to go to Cleveland, get the autographs there, and then drive 2 hours to go back home. I just do, what any normal sane person would do in that scenario, and just drive 4 hours for somebody to sign a piece of paper. So here we are. We got Hayden Panettiere to sign Kyrie. And also, for those of you who might not have known this, they actually brought Hayden Panettiere to come back to voice Shion in Dream Drop Distance. So I got her to also sign Shion. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get Hayden Panettiere to do the line because they weren't doing any sort of like video or audio recordings. So unfortunately, I had to skip out on getting that request from her. So from Monroeville, I did my 2-hour drive, and I went to Cleveland to the Cleveland Fan Expo. The voice actors that were there that I was interested in seeing were Jodie Benson, Fred Tassacor, and Sean Astin. So Jodie Benson does the voice of Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Fred Tassacor is the voice of Clue and Kevin Flynn from the Tron Legacy World and Dream Drop Distance. And Sean Astin, yes, the Sean Astin from The Goonies and The Lord of the Rings, did Hercules in the very first Kingdom Hearts game. Another fun fact if you did not know that. The first person I got in line was Jodie Benson, and I successfully was able to get her autograph. Unfortunately, she did decline to do the video request, which is totally understandable. I had a feeling that some of the Disney voice actors are probably going to be pretty hard to get them to say shut up in character. They probably don't want to get in trouble with Disney. Totally understandable. Do not blame them whatsoever. So from Jodie Benson, I moved over to Fred Tassacor, waited in his line, got his autograph. Fred was super jazzed about the request. He was down for it 100%, and I got the following video.
This is Shut Up for Flynn and Clue. Clue. Shut up, Flynn. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Now, Flynn. Hey, Shut up, man. That was more of the dude. All right, here you go. Hey, Clue, shut up. Shut up. Clue, shut up. Clue, shut up. Am I supposed to make the perfect system? Yeah.
It's his game now. The only way to win is not to play.
Yeah, well, that's a hell of a way to live.
But it is a way. Sometimes life has a way of moving you past things like wants and hopes.
That's great, Dad. Keep telling yourself that.
Shut up.
Good night, Sam. You have a little item called a keyblade. It can open any lock, isn't that right? Hand it over, and I'll change Rinsler back into Tron.
The Keyblade? I can't. This is what lights the darkness. A chance to make everyone happy.
Up.
I created the perfect system.
Clue, shut up.
I'm sorry, Clue. I'm sorry.
Shut up, Flynn. Shut up.
And again, creative control, very minimally just told him, like, if you could just say, like, shut up, Clue, shut up, Flynn. That's all I gave him. And then he went on and just did all that. He honestly knocked it out of the park. I could not have asked for just a better response from literally bare bones, just giving him like 2 very basic requests. And he just took it and he ran with it. Now, in my mind, Sean Astin, he was there because the Cleveland Fan Expo actually got 4 of the actors from from Lord of the Rings. It was the Hobbit characters. And in my mind, I was like, well, there's no shot that I'm ever going to be able to get in line for like a really big famous actor, right? These voice actors, they usually have pretty long lines, but it's pretty manageable. You can get through it relatively quickly within like half an hour to an hour. But like a big movie star, like Elijah Wood's line was nonstop. Like that line barely even budged. But so after I got Jody and Fred's autographs, I was like, okay, let me go look at Sean Astin's line. And there's only a few people. So I went up and I was like, hey, well, what's going on? Because Sean Astin wasn't there. And it's like, is he taking a break? Is he coming back? He's like, oh, he's at a panel right now, but he'll be back soon to do his final autograph signing. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just wait here. And that's what I did. I waited in line. I waited for him to show up. And this is like the perfect example of this project of Sean Astin, who's known for the Goonies, who is known for the Lord of the Rings, right? And I'm coming up with my book for a role that he voiced back in like 1999, 2000, whenever they recorded the first Kingdom Hearts game, to do Hercules. And I'm just like, I don't even know what he's going to think when I come up and I asked him about this. And honestly, to my surprise, he was super warm, welcoming. He is such like a cool person. I can't say that I've ever really watched a lot of his movies. I've seen like the first Lord of the Rings, so that's my extent of like knowing who he is as like a person or as like as an actor. But for me to approach him and to only talk about Kingdom Hearts, he was so cool about it. He was super chill. I, of course, did get his autograph. And now, the unfortunate part. I did ask him for a video. And he said that he couldn't remember how to do the voice off the top of his head. But he said if I were to come and find him with a video, he would listen to it and do the best that he could to replicate the voice. And he would 100% be down for the video. So, with every time I get an autograph, I always go off to the side and I wait for it to dry before I close the book, right? And that's what I did. I was sitting on the side. I stepped out of line because obviously I didn't want to hold up the line. I saw it within eyeshot and I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for this to dry, and I'm going to get back in line. And while it was drying, I pulled up the video on my phone. So then I, for some reason, decided that I had to use the bathroom. And I was like, I should be okay. You know, I'll just go use the bathroom. I'll come back. I'll get the video. That was my mistake. I used the bathroom. I came back. He was gone. A few people was like standing around his table. So I'm like thinking like, oh, maybe he might have like stepped away for a second. Maybe he'll come back. He never came back. He had just left to go to a panel with all the other Hobbit actors. So unfortunately for that day, there was no other way for me to see Sean Astin unless I decided to come back the following day and buy another badge just to go in to get him to do the video, which unfortunately was not something I was down to do because I, funnily enough, found out that there was a third con going on that same weekend, and this one was happening in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which ironically enough, I said Michigan doesn't have a big con scene. Apparently there's another con that I had never heard about all the way in Kalamazoo. And so part of me was like, do I drive 2 hours to come back to Cleveland to pay for an additional badge just to get a voice recording of Sean Astin as Hercules? Or do I go to the Kalamazoo Con, which is the Grand Rapids Comic-Con? So yeah, just confirmed. It was the Grand Rapids Comic-Con. So I had to make the executive decision. I was like, am I going to drive 2 hours to go to Cleveland to pay for an additional badge just to get this video of Sean Astin as Hercules, and then drive all the way back to Michigan to go to Kalamazoo to go to another con in the same day, which would have been way over the 4-hour limit of just like consecutive driving. Because on top of the fact of Kalamazoo is about a 2 to 3 hour drive from where I live. So it was just one of those things where I'm like, I've already done so much driving. I'm not trying to add more driving than I would like to do. Again, if I could have flown to Cleveland and then go to Kalamazoo, it would have been different. But nonetheless, I decided, I was like, okay, one of these days, fate will guide me back to Sean Astin, and I will finally get that video. I will be like, do you remember? I was the guy in Cleveland who had this book, and I was like, could you sign it? Because you were Hercules that one time. And hopefully he'll remember me and we'll make the video happen. But as of right now, unfortunately, the only video I was able to get between both of those cons was for Fantastic Horror. But one of these days, I promise, I will make that Sean Astin video happen. So we did Cleveland Fan Expo, and the con in Monroeville was Steel City Con. We did that on Saturday. Sunday, we did Grand Rapids Comic Con. The voice actor who is going to be there is none other than Starfire and Princess Bubblegum herself, Hynden Walsh. So another voice actor fact, for those of you who may not know, is that in the very first Kingdom Hearts game, they had the voice actor who did the original voice of Alice and Wendy make an appearance to reprise their role in the first Kingdom Hearts game from the very original Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan. Those roles were eventually passed on to somebody else, which was Hynden Walsh. So Hynden Walsh is the new voice of both Wendy and Alice. Now, unfortunately, we never got Hynden to do the role of Wendy in Kingdom Hearts because any version of Wendy that has appeared is either not spoken or has been voiced by Catherine Beaumont. But in the recoded movie that was released on the 2.5 HD remix, Hynden was able to do the voice work of that one because initially it didn't have any voice work whatsoever. So she came in and then did the voice for Alice for that game. And here you go. We got the autograph of Hynden Walsh for Alice. And it's a little fun fact. I did get a video of her saying shut up as Alice in character, which again goes against that whole thing I was saying about how Disney must be so strict with their characters. Apparently not. Apparently it was just, I guess it's probably hit or miss. It kind of depends from voice actor to voice actor. So all these clips that I've been showing you, I've been posting them on both Instagram and TikTok. This one, however, I have not posted because she requested not to have her face recorded. So she held the book up to block her face, and out of context there was nothing for me to really like explain to why they were holding the book with the autograph, because I, again, have not talked about this project whatsoever. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to save this clip for when I do this video. So you are seeing an exclusive recording of Alice saying shut up that I have not posted anywhere because I was waiting to record this video before I released it to the world.
Shut up! Shut up, shut up, shut up! Oh, Dinah!
So that is the conclusion of the 3-con venture that I went on back in like the beginning of April, I want to say. Yeah, so April 13th, I did both Steel City Con and Fan Expo, and then on the 14th, I did Grand Rapids Comic Con. And this is honestly, like, for someone who's only ever really gone to both Motor City Comic Con and Youmacon, to hit up not only more than one con in a day, but to do 3 cons in the span of a weekend in like cons that I've never been to in different states. It was a fun experience for sure. It also made me realize like the scope of what I was going to have to do to get these projects up and running. It's like, it's going to require a lot of effort, a lot of research, a lot of driving. All right, so moving on from there, the next con on the agenda was C2E2, which is the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo in Chicago. Are you serious? Bruh, I'm recording a video. This is the culprit right here. What do you have to say for yourself? What is your opinion on these voice actors that we've been talking about, huh? Is Hendon your favorite? I think Hendon is your favorite. Confirmed. Rigatoni's favorite voice actor so far has been Hendon Walsh. He's a big Teen Titans fan. He's been watching since the first version of Teen Titans, even though he was only born 2 years ago. All right, so anyways, C2E2. Before this con, I had a bit of a realization that I came to where the price of doing this is one of those things that I had definitely not fully factored. So a big reason of why I was doing a lot of these trips, and a lot of these were happening like back to back within like, I would say every other weekend or so. Well, mostly because finances, like I said, were in order, but also tax return. So it gave me a little bit more incentive to do a bit more traveling than I normally would do. But now we are on Con 4 so far of within the recent excursions from when I started officially doing this whole project, right? So we did Steel City, we did Fan Expo, and we did Grand Rapids Comic Con. For those of you who don't know, it costs admission to get into a convention, and then you also have to pay the talent separately. And the prices for both the autograph and the video are separate, and the range depends on the talent themselves, which is totally understandable. I have a hair on my mic, which is totally understandable. You know, this is their job. This is how they get paid. But going into C2E2, I was like, I think I'm going to have to limit it to maybe one video because I've already been spending quite a bit. And there were a few names at this con. And I was like, if I were to ask every single one for a video and all of them said yes, I don't know how I would move forward financially with any additional cons because I had a few more lined up after this one. The voice actors that were going to be here at this con, we had Rachel Lee Cook, which is the voice of Tifa, the old voice of Tifa, Tara Strong, which did the voice of Riku from Final Fantasy X, Paige O'Hara, which was the voice of Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Vanessa Marshall, who did Nala from the Lion King world, and then lastly, there was none other than Christopher Lloyd. It was finally going to come full circle where the reason I started this project was because of Christopher Lloyd, and I was finally going to meet him and get his autograph. And it would have been such a nice little like cherry on top to just be like, you're the reason I started all this, and then here I am. Unfortunately, going off of what I said previously when it came to money and prices, Christopher Lloyd's prices are very, very high, which is understandable. He's a very big talent. So I made the executive decision to not go into his line because I was like, if I'm going to have to spend a good chunk of change to get Christopher Lloyd to potentially do a video and or get his autograph, I need to do it when it's only just him. So it makes it a little bit more financially feasible. So I decided to opt out for Christopher Lloyd. Coincidentally, Paige O'Hara, who does the voice of Belle, canceled. So it made it a little bit easier to narrow it down for who is going to be the one person I was going to get a video of. And I decided to go with Rachel Lee Cook. So I was like, if I had to pick between Nala, Riku, Tifa, I decided to go as Tifa as my video pick. So the first line that I went into was Tara Strong, and I was able to get her autograph, which, by the way, if you haven't played Final Fantasy X, you need to. Even though this entire channel is dedicated to Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy X is the reason I started playing Kingdom Hearts, because it was like the second game I owned for the PS2, and the reason I bought Kingdom Hearts 1 was because I saw it was the same people who made Final Fantasy X made Kingdom Hearts 1, and that made me want to buy it. The Disney aspect was part of it, because I did like The Lion King. It was one of my favorite movies. Hercules, Hunchback as well. Granted, Hunchback was not in the first game. Yeah, highly recommend. If you've not played Final Fantasy X, you should play Final Fantasy X. It is such a good game, and honestly, I would say it's my favorite game. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite series, but Final Fantasy X, hands down, as of this current moment, is my favorite video game. So after Tara Strong, I went over to Vanessa Marshall's line. I was able to get her autograph as Nala. And then from there, my plan was to go to Rachel Lee Cook as like the final autograph of the trip. But when I went over to her line, similar to Sean Astin, she was not there. And people were saying that, oh, she was at a con, or of course she was at a con. People were saying that she was at a panel and she was going to be back like within an hour or so. So I was like, oh, okay, I must have just missed her. So I started walking around and I started looking at all the other voice actors that were there. And one caught my eye because they were not initially on the list when I looked them up. And it was none other than Linda Larkin. So for those of you who don't know who Linda Larkin is, she is the voice actor of Jasmine from Aladdin. So you can imagine my surprise, and also the fact that it shows how much research I've been doing into voice actors for this project to get to like recognize a lot of their names out in the wild. So you can imagine my surprise when I saw the Linda Larkin sign, and I was like, I cannot believe this. I couldn't get Paige O'Hara, but I was able to get Linda Larkin. So I don't know if maybe there was like a mix up or somebody got confused and they thought that one Disney princess was going to be there versus the other. Or maybe it was one of those things where they like swapped at the last minute. I'm not too sure. So I went into her line and I was able to get her autograph. A little fun fact of the interaction, that line right there that says, "It's all so magical." She was telling me that that's actually like one of her favorite Jasmine lines of like all time. And she was so stoked to see that it was written in the book, which on that note, most voice actors are actually pretty surprised when it comes to seeing the book. I remember Hayden Panettiere and Richard Epcar both had some pretty like impressive reactions when they were like, wow, this is such a cool thing. And they were like super stoked to sign it. Also, when it comes to the video recordings, a lot of the voice actors were also pretty jazzed about it as well. So it's one of those things that it's really cool to kind of show up with the book and them to be really excited. And then for them to also have like the opportunity to voice the character in just like a small, like funny little request. I remember Hinden thought it was like a really funny project that I was putting together. So from the perspective of just like going from both angles, it's been such like a fun time to like, one, get to talk to these voice actors, get to see like what their reactions are going to be for, like I said, when they see the book and when they, because I don't think a lot of them even know this book exists. I think legitimately every time I pull this out, they're like, what is that? And then I open it to like the page that has their character in it, and they're just like, wow, this is like amazing. But yeah, no, so far, everybody I've met has been super jazzed to participate, even if it's just their autograph or the video. Like I said, whoever has fulfilled whatever request has done so with the utmost politeness and chilledness and gracefulness, and honestly have not had any qualms with anybody I've encountered so far. So moving on from the unexpected Linda Larkin appearance, Rachel Lee Cook finally came back from the panel, and I was able to get into her line, and I was able to get her autograph, which kind of worked out perfectly. You know, we got both Tara and Rachel to sign on the same page, which was pretty neat. That was the first time getting somebody to not only sign on the same page as another voice actor, but to do so at the same con. And so, like with all the other voice actors that I asked to do the video of, I mentioned the request, and she was more than happy to fulfill the request. If you'd rather do audio.
Shut up, Sephiroth. 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 Shut up.
He'll never let go of the darkness.
He doesn't have to. He just needs someone to surround him with light. The darkness will be there, Sephiroth, but in a place you can't reach.
Is that right? Let's see what this light of yours can do.
Shut up, Sephiroth.
When it came to the video recording, the reason why there are so many different versions and why there's like an actual like audio file recording instead of just the video is because it was so loud in the area where we were at. So she did the best as she could with being able to, like, you know, represent Tifa and with how loud everything was. So she was like, I'm going to do 2 recordings. And then she went ahead and did the audio recording just to make sure that, you know, it came across clearly, which, you know, again, major props to her. Like, for somebody to just take a simple request of like, hey, can you just say shut up in character, and for them to go above and beyond and just knock it out of the park to make sure that the request got fulfilled to like the utmost degree. It's like, I have such high praise. Like, it's such a weird perspective of like, I never really considered much when it came to like meeting voice actors, because I was always like, oh yeah, you go up to them, you get their autograph, maybe have like a small conversation and move forward. But the amount of care and compassion and like dedication a lot of these voice actors have, it's honestly like, it's so like awe-inspiring. Like, the food dispenser had to go off at the same time. I was in the middle of my speech. Anyways, what I was saying, it's very awe-inspiring, and I can definitely see how a lot of people, when they get to meet their favorite celebrity or voice actor, get so inspired to be motivated themselves to do whatever project it is that they're working on. Because honestly, with all the cool, nice interactions that I've had with everybody, it makes this project, it makes me want to do this project even more, just to get to meet all these other people and have even more interactions and all these memories you get to make out of it. For as much as I dislike driving, not that I dislike driving, I'm just not a big fan of like continuously driving. I don't have an issue with traveling. If it were up to me, I'd fly everywhere and I would have no qualms whatsoever. It's just, I have my limits when it comes to driving. But that being said, the amount of driving I would have to do to meet some of these people is definitely worth it. And they definitely give me the motivation to continuously do it, because I'm just like, I am so excited to meet the next person and just to see what kind of memories I'm going to create when I meet them. So that puts a wrap on the C2E2 part of this story. And the next con, which is Motor City Comic Con, coming full circle. After a full year of the idea being implanted in my head to finally coming back to the same con where that idea originally had taken shape. So we're on Con 5 at this point. And the voice actors that were going to be there was John Ratzenberg, who does the voice of Ham from Toy Story, Tom Kenny, who is the rabbit from the Winnie the Pooh world in Kingdom Hearts 3, and Zachary Levi, the voice of Flynn Rider. Another fun fact, for those of you who may not know, is that Zachary Levi took the role of Flynn Rider in Tangled because he was super jazzed and such a big fan about Kingdom Hearts that he wanted to take the role so he could reprise it later when when Tangled got incorporated into Kingdom Hearts. So me knowing this information, I was like, this is going to be so cool. Like, going off of what I was saying before, to make memories and have these interactions with people, it's always so exciting. But to have someone who is such a big fan of Kingdom Hearts and someone who went to the length of being a Disney character just so they could be that Disney character in a Kingdom Hearts game. I'm like, this is going to be like hands down probably the best interaction I will probably ever have, because I don't know anyone else of the voice actors who are as big of a fan of Kingdom Hearts as this guy is going to be. So of course, as soon as I get to Motor City Comic Con, he's the first person I go into line. I'm so excited. I also have a Kingdom Hearts backpack. I got my Kingdom Hearts book in my Kingdom Hearts backpack. I'm just waiting in line, going through, just so excited to talk to him about Kingdom Hearts. And I get to him, and I put the book on the table, and I look him straight in the eyes, and I was like, so I heard you're a big fan. And he's like, of what? I was like, oh, of Kingdom Hearts. I heard that you were like really jazzed about being in Kingdom Hearts 3. He said that whole thing about me being a big Kingdom Hearts fan is not true. I appreciate being a part of the game, but I was not as big of a fan as the internet made me out to be. The internet lied. I went in fully expected for Zachary Levi to be my new best Kingdom Hearts friend. I thought we were going to be the bestest of buddies in that moment. And everything about it was just made up. The whole rumors that he took the role of Flynn Rider to do the role once again in a future game is not true at all. And I'm here to break the story, and I'm sorry to also break the news to you that that is a complete fabrication. Somebody made that up and then just let it spread like wildfire on the internet. Zachary Levi is stoked to be involved with the games, but not to the extent of like him being a big fan. Like, he appreciates being included, but that's the extent of like his appreciation. So I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but he is not as big of a fan as we were led to believe. Me being embarrassed because of course I came in fucking ready to just talk about Kingdom Hearts, and I was just like, oh, okay. So I still went ahead and I got his autograph. He was not doing video requests in that moment, so I didn't get a video recording of him to say shut up as Flynn Rider, unfortunately. You can only imagine my reaction. I was so dejected. I was like, I cannot believe I went in. I was so jazzed. I was so jazzed. That was such a punch to the gut. Like, you have no idea. God damn it, whoever wrote that online. So from this point forward, because you know damn well I was going to get Flynn Rider to be the one and only video request that I was going to do for this trip, because I knew I thought he would have been so excited to do the video request, especially because it was Kingdom Hearts, but one, he wasn't doing it, and two, he's not as big of a fan as I thought. So I had to decide between, am I going to get Ham from Toy Story or the rabbit from Winnie the Pooh? Initially, I was like, maybe I'll do Tom Kenny, because I feel like that would be a pretty funny video to get of Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, to be like, hey, can you do the rabbit from Winnie the Pooh? But his line was like crazy long. So I decided to go to John Rettensberg line and get his autograph, which I did. And I thought, because I was in his line for quite a bit of time, that, oh, maybe I'll swing by Tom Kenny's line. Maybe it'll be a little shorter. It wasn't. So then I was like, all right, let me go walk around the con for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back. His line did not move at all. And in my mind, I was like, okay, if I wait in this line, there is a high chance that I'm going to be here for 2 to 3 hours and probably get cut short, because if the con is over, obviously he's not going to stay there and continue to do autographs. I would have had to come back tomorrow, which is like in the same realm of the Sean Astin situation, where I was like, well, I didn't want to have to buy another badge to come back tomorrow, especially if all I had to do was wait in line for like who knows how long. And again, who's to say that I would even guarantee to get in that line? It's honestly one of those situations, like a Christopher Lloyd situation, where if Tom Kenny is there, he has to be like the only person I'm there for, and I have to get there like as soon as the convention starts and literally be the first one in his line, or spend a little extra money and get like one of those VIP badges so I can like get into line quicker. So once again, made the executive decision that I wasn't going to go for Tom Kenny's line. Oh, I forgot to mention it. So from there, it would have made the most sense for me to just go to John Ratzenberg to get the video. But John Ratzenberg was not doing videos. So unfortunately, it got to the point where I didn't walk away with a single video from that con because neither Zachary or John were doing video recordings. And I'm sure I would have got Tom Kenny, but the timing of everything else that happened, it just did not work out. As saddened as I was for the Zachary Levi scenario, not being able to get a video of anybody, I realized that there was a special someone that was going to be at this convention. A little special someone who is my all-time favorite voice actor, who actually was at C2E2, but I opted out of going to their line because I was like, I'm already focused on so many other people. Hopefully I'll have another opportunity. Again, another executive decision was made. Maybe I'll have another opportunity at some point to get to meet this voice actor. But in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in this voice actor's line and I'm going to go get like a couple autographs and a picture with them. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you know who I'm talking about. But it is the one, the only, the king himself, the treasure to this world, Ian Sinclair. He is my all-time favorite voice actor, and it's just the way, it's not even necessarily like there's a specific role that I love him for. It's just that the way he does his job is just the best. Like he nails it out of the park. And for those of you who don't know, he's done Brook from One Piece. He does Space Dandy from Space Dandy. He's Whis from Dragon Ball Super, Bokuto from Haikyuu. So one of the big reasons of why I really wanted to get Ian Sinclair's autograph is because if you can notice behind my wall, I have a lot of prints. This is one of my favorite things that I like to do when I go to a con is always look for new prints, especially in the artist alley. You always find some of the coolest stuff that you don't find anywhere else. So as you can see right there is Warwick from Gangsta, which is another role that Ian Sinclair did. And he also did, if you can see right here, this is a Blood Blockade print, and he was Zap from that anime. And honestly, I was like, I want to go and get prints from him because like I said with David Vincent, every voice actor has prints that they have at their table. And if you don't have something to sign, you could have one of the prints and they could sign it for you. So I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to get a Zap and a Warwick print, and I'm going to have something to represent both Blood Blockade and Gangsta on my wall because you never see any fan art for it whatsoever. So I got into Ian Sinclair's line. I looked at his little pamphlet of all the prints he had. Unfortunately, he had Warwick. He did not have Zap. And I was like, okay, well, I am watching One Piece. Currently, as of this moment, I'm on episode, I think it was 1035. So I'm very deep into Wano. I'm very close to the end of Wano. But again, only watched it subbed, not dubbed. But I didn't know that Ian Sinclair was even in One Piece until like maybe a year ago, maybe like less than a year ago. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to catch up in the sub, read the manga, and then when the new episodes come out, I'm going to watch only the dubbed, just so I can see Ian Sinclair. But he had a Brook print, and it wasn't just like a plain Brook print. It was Brook's wanted poster, the one that it's like decorated to look like a concert poster. So it's like, okay, well that poster is legit, and I need it. I need that. I would just take that in a heartbeat just because of the print alone. And I had him sign it along with the Warwick print over here. So I had him sign both. I also took a picture with him. We took 2 pictures. And yeah, I got to talk to him for a little bit. He really likes playing Brook. Brook is like one of his favorite roles. We both like the same arc in One Piece, which is the Water 7 arc, Water 7 Enos Lobby. Overall, very cool guy. He did say that he wanted to make a Zap print, but something that I found out in that moment is that the voice actors make the prints, or they have like executive decision over what the prints are. And he said he couldn't find a good one for Zap, and he didn't want to like steal fan art because obviously like that's bad. We shouldn't do that. But luckily, like I said, he had a Warwick print. I was able to get that. I got the Brook print. I got the photos, and I was happy because I got to meet my favorite voice actor, and I got to have a fun conversation with him. I got some new stuff to hang up on the wall from anime that I don't see a lot of merch for. And yeah, so I decided to walk around the entire con. I went to the artist alley to see what new artwork I could get, along with the Brook poster, which I don't have in this room because in the living room I have an entire like shrine dedicated to One Piece. I got the gangsta print up here. I also got that Stitch print, which is Stitch dressed up as Sora. But this one, the Jackie Chan Adventures one, initially I saw this at C2E2 and I wanted to get it there, but I thought they were sold out. He said that the larger version was sold out, so I could have bought it at C2E2, but then the moment I saw it at Motor City Comic Con, I was like, I have to get it here. Like, there's no way I could pass this up. I watched so much Jackie Chan Adventures. It is such a good show. Honestly, highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Most of you are probably thinking, well, you clearly have a Blood Blockade print. You just pointed to it, and clearly I see it right there. I bought that at Motor City Comic Con. It was the very last booth in the artist alley. I was flipping through this artist's book, their workbook. Literally, it was like the second or third print. And I was like, no way. I literally was just talking to Ian Sinclair about this, about how I wish I had something. Obviously, I just mentioned it too, how I wanted something Blood Blockade to put on my wall and also to have him sign it as well. So the moment I saw it, I bought it and I booked it across the entire convention center just to get to his table. And I pulled up to him with the print and I was like, Ian, I found it. And he was so stoked about it too, because he's like, oh my God, this looks amazing. He took a picture of it and everything. I told him, I was like, okay, when it comes to signing this, you have to sign this as Zap would sign this. And so he stood there, hand on his chin, and he was like, I got it. So he pulled a red marker from his little like container of markers, and he signed right on the crotch. Because for those of you who don't know, Zap is a very like promiscuous character, and Ian was like, this is the most Zap thing for him to do, to sign on the crotch. And then he was like, you know what? If Zap was like an adult film star, his name would be The Zapper. And I was like, this is why this man is the best. Anyways, this isn't about Ian Sinclair. I just really like Ian Sinclair. He's just really cool. Highly recommend, if you are a fan of him and you get the chance to meet him, 100% you need to meet Ian Sinclair. He is amazing. He's truly a treasure. All right, from there, we move on to the final chapter of this video. The very last convention that I went to was ColossalCon over in Sandusky, Ohio. And there was, again, like with Steel City Con and Grand Rapids Con, only one voice actor, and it was none other than Kirk Thornton. So most people know Kirk Thornton as the voice of Shadow the Hedgehog, Kisame from Naruto, but he is also Sayax from Kingdom Hearts. So of course, another big name. I was like, this couldn't have been even more perfect for this first stint of cons, that I got to meet Ansem, I got to meet Kyrie, and now I'm going to meet Sayax. I drove myself to ColossalCon, and I was able to get his autograph, which honestly, I have to like just praise how like he chose to do this blue, and it was honestly such a fantastic choice. Like, it pops so well, and just like the sheer presence of his autograph is just so like, it's so bold and in charge, just like how Sayax would be. On top of that amazing autograph, I was also able to get a video.
Shut up. Axel, shut up. No, really, I mean it. This time, for real. Shut up.
Look, about Kyrie, I'm sorry.
Axel, shut up. Uh-oh.
Ever heard of knocking? What do you want?
Axel, shut up. No, really, I mean it. This time, for real. Shut up.
Well, thank you, sir, for personally delivering that message to me.
But yeah, so from there, that is the first official update of this these two projects that I've been calling Project Kingdom Hearts Yearbook, because I figured, you know, it's kind of like signing Yearbook. And then for the videos, I was calling that Operation Shut Up. But yeah, so I've been working on this behind the scenes, been posting the videos on TikTok and Instagram, just completely out of context. So when it comes to the Yearbook project, that is 100% something that I am doing for myself. I love Kingdom Hearts, as you can see by my wall of just dedicated Kingdom Hearts art. I want to get a shelf over here because I have so many figures I want to display, but I'm trying to find like the perfect shelf, and I've only found one on Amazon, and it's like $250, and I don't know if I want to spend that much on a bookshelf. But once I can find one that's like a more reasonable price, I'm gonna get it and then set it up, and then the Kingdom Hearts wall will finally be complete. But yeah, so to add to the collection of like everything Kingdom Hearts, I was like, well, I'm gonna get this book and I'm gonna get it signed as much as I can. Granted, there's gonna be limitations because only being able to go to 5 states out of the remaining 45 is going to nerf me a little bit. If anybody wants to participate in helping me with this project of either the Yearbook project or the Shut Up project or Operation Shut Up, I do have both Patreon and Ko-Fi, which again, not needed if you don't have any means to donate. It's just there for anybody who wants to support. I would greatly appreciate it. You know, everything that gets brought to me is going to get put back into these projects. If anything, it would allow me to guarantee to do more videos, because the yearbook, the autographs, is more so for a me thing. So I feel kind of selfish asking for support for something that I'm doing for myself. But the video stuff is more so where I'm like, okay, well, that's me giving back to like other people, to the community. So that I feel more comfortable being like, if you want to support it, to essentially allow me to get like more than just the one video, because I'm still going to go around and get the videos. It's just more so that there's going to be limitations to like, maybe I can't go to every con, but with more support, I can guarantee to go to more cons, maybe even further cons, and even get like bigger names to say shut up, ones that are only like limited to like the East Coast or the very far West Coast. There was like a 90s con in Maryland that David Gallagher was going to, and I wanted to go to it so badly. I would have had to drive to it. This is back before I had my finances in order, so I couldn't have even bought a plane ticket. I was so ready. He was there because of Seventh Heaven. He wasn't there for anything Kingdom Hearts related, any video game related, anything. It was just Seventh Heaven. And I was like, I want to go so badly. It would be so cool to meet David Gallagher. But unfortunately, it was just not in the cards. So hopefully if he does show up, he shows up to something sooner, which he is very much one of those people that doesn't show up to a lot of things. Haley Joel Osment, I don't think shows up to really anything. Unless some new movie's coming out or a TV show, he might be doing like a tour. But that would probably be like a really big convention in like California, I can't remember, but there's like a few really big ones over there. That would be such an amazing opportunity to be able to travel around and get to meet voice actors and get these videos and build up the whole operation. But I plan, like I said, to continue this project, even if it is just out of my own wallet, my own pocket. I plan to post updates for anybody who does follow me on Patreon. And then I would say every 6 months, I'll probably make an update video and talk about like my experiences, who I've encountered, what autographs, videos I've gotten. But beyond Project Cage Yearbook and Operation Shut Up, if you still want to donate to Patreon just to support the content that I make, that would also be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to make content creation as like a full-time job, something that I can depend on, and I really enjoy doing it. And supporting me via those methods definitely will allow me to get more time to focus on working on videos and content, because that's the one thing that I just need so desperately is time. But I have to focus on working 2 jobs, and technically YouTube, since I am now in the partner program, I do get some money for it. I'm not making a lot of money off of it, but so YouTube in a way is kind of like a third job. So if I can make YouTube my second job and have that time to do so and just solely focus on that more so than, you know, doing a second job, that would be amazing. It would definitely allow me to focus way more on content that I want to. Like if I could do this as like a main job, oh my God, that would be so amazing. I could just spend all my time just focusing on video editing and then try to come up with like newer and bigger projects. That's the thing, is more time means bigger projects. So the more support, the better. Even if it's just watching the video, sharing the video, that enough is support. Interacting with the video and getting other people to see it is huge as well. So generally, any support that you could provide, I greatly appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed. And I read all the comments between both the YouTube Shorts, the Instagram Reels, and the TikToks. I know it's always so fun to see everybody's like comments and jokes and different like inputs and perspectives. And it in a way inspires me to make even more content, because a lot of the edits that I've been posting recently are inspired from a lot of the comments that I would see on other videos. And it's just this full circle of I make content, people interact with it, and it allows me to make even more content. But yeah, no, it's been a fun process ever since I started all the way back in like October of 2021. I want to keep pushing the boundaries. I want to make bigger and better videos, just content in general, to just like be as unique as possible. That's my biggest thing, is I want to do the stuff that nobody has done before. Like this whole Operation Shut Up, like who would have ever thought to do that? And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to go full force on it too. But yeah, so I think I've yapped on enough about this whole project. I did want to end the video though on sharing some of the prints that I picked up from the cons that I've been to. And also I'm going to tag the artist 100%. Go support them. If there's anything in there that you see that you want to purchase for yourself, I will link all their socials down below, because I made sure to follow all of them on Instagram. Also follow me on Instagram, because that's where I'm going to post a lot of like any artwork that I find, because every time I go to a convention, I always want to like show and give praise to the artwork and the artists that I find. Beyond that, you know, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff you can find in the link tree down below. But yeah, so from here, enjoy the artwork, and I will definitely be back with another update soon. All right, bye.